Hey, what's going on, crypto people? It is the Crypto Siege with another day in the life, in the crazy life that is the digital asset space. Listen, guys, interesting stuff. I want to get into this really quick. There's been a lot of talk about why is Ripple Labs interested and why did they file to enter the Chapter 11 Celsius Network Chapter 11 bankruptcy? And I know I did a video on it. It's been some back and forth on that, but I'm going to cover what I really do think now. After going over some stuff, I really do think I know it's probably their number one thing. We're going to talk about that after I did some research on this particular company and entity. Interesting stuff. Listen, the market again is doing what the market does. We will go over those numbers for sure. I did enter the space, the Twitter Spaces AMA with Simon Dixon, and he discussed his meeting with the president of El Salvador and what they're looking to do there. And it is fascinating stuff. And yes, it does involve, it does involve a restructuring plan for what he dubs, because he's on the NDAs now, right? What he dubs distressed Bitcoin lending, the distressed Bitcoin lending market, or distressed Bitcoin lending companies. So he is really just letting us know what the real deal is there, guys. So yeah, we're gonna get into that. Some very interesting stuff. So guys, listen, this is your XRP Ripple daily news. In around 0 to 10 minutes, let's look at the total cryptocurrency market cap according to CoinGecko. Shout out to CoinGecko. The Bitcoin dominance is at 38.4%. The Bitcoin is at 21,000. Well, let me say the total cryptocurrency market cap is at 1.06 trillion. And Bitcoin is at $21,215 again. Ethereum is at $1,587 again. XRP is at 34 cents again. Look, the double figure reds, you best to believe the swing traders are having a good time, probably snatching some up on the cheap here and, looking to make some moves when the market recovers. EOS on the 7-day is up 43% from wherever it was. Okay. So it's interesting the way this market just operates. It is something, right? Look at Celsius down 55%. The Cell token down 55%. This whole short squeeze stuff going on is amazing. What's going on over there in the market with the people who are trying to short the token, with the people who are trying to make sure the token doesn't go to zero. Interesting stuff. I am not participating in that stuff. Interesting, absolutely crazy stuff. So what is Ripple Labs up to? Why did they file to enter this Celsius Network Chapter 11 bankruptcy? Why did they choose to do it? And I think this is the asset I believe that I now believe that, I was going back and forth between the Celsius Lending LLC and this platform here, GK8, which is an asset of Celsius Network. Celsius Network, like the umbrella, they own Celsius Lending LLC, and they also acquired this platform here called GK8. Okay, I forget the numbers that they purchased this for. So let's take a look at GK8 because it's very interesting, guys. The GK8, the ultimate protection for digital assets. Listen to this: an enterprise-grade custody platform that enables financial institutions to offer services over digital assets with 100% protection from cyber attacks. I don't think I don't think there's such a thing, but in any case, that's what they say. 100% protection from cyber attacks. Leverage the power of the blockchain to expand your financial service offering. GK8, listen to this, GK8 enables banks to securely benefit from the exploding global demand for digital assets. Why does Celsius Network acquire a platform that provides custody services for banks? Unless they were intending to become one. So GK8 enables banks to securely benefit from the exploding global demand for digital assets. Look at this: staking and DeFi, payments, token creation, crypto prime brokerage, cryptography key management, wallet management, all-in-one custody platform built for banks. I think that really says it, guys. I think that is the move. Yeah, I think that's Ripple's interest. I think that's their number one interest anyway. End-to-end solution. GK8 offers financial institutions an end-to-end platform for managing blockchain-based assets on their own with no reliance on third-party custody providers. No hardware dependency. GK8's innovation and cyber protection are rooted within the cryptographic layer itself. Any hardware deployment is optional, used for added protection against physical and side channel attacks. 100% cyber protection. We've developed the world's first true air-gapped cold vault, capable of creating, signing, and sending secure blockchain transactions with no direct internet connectivity. No direct internet connectivity. Eliminating all potential cyber attack vectors. The patented MPC that's a multi-something thing in it, wallet, offering an unlimited number of automatic co-signers with thousands of transactions per second, making it the most secure, high-performance MPC in the market, eliminating the single point of failure that other solutions share. Governance and compliance ready. Governance and compliance ready. Designed for global financial institutions with rules and policies customized per individual or a group based on whitelist caps and velocity. It says it's asset agnostic. The GK8 solution is asset agnostic, supporting hundreds of cryptos and tokens, as well as staking and DeFi protocols on both private and public blockchains. Any connected device can potentially be hacked. GK8 is the only true air-gapped vault that sends blockchain transactions while being 100% offline and eliminating attack vectors. Hear what top security experts say about our solution. Let's take a listen to this. Hopefully there's no music here. Maybe not. Oh, there it is.
Cold wallet solutions face the challenge of having to interact with the blockchain and respond to interactive requests, and that creates a significant attack surface that enables compromise and theft of funds.
Until today, we did not find any cold solution. They are actually connected. They are connected by devices, they are connected by power, they are connected by drivers. If the attacker is persistent enough, he will overcome your controls, he will for sure
Okay, well, looks like I can't play that, but who can benefit from our end-to-end custody solution? That was someone from eToro, and it was also the president of Zcash. Yeah, Zcash as well. It's two of those guys, both of those guys. So one from eToro and the other one from Zcash. Who can benefit from our end-to-end custody solution? Banks, crypto exchanges, CBDC projects, family offices, and hedge funds. And it's just a matter of time before what? Retail. As a bank entering the digital asset space, your primary concern is risk mitigation. With GK8, you can start leveraging the power of digital assets while protecting them with a military-grade custody solution that keeps crypto out of hackers' reach. The GK8 platform serves as a building block infrastructure that opens up an array of digital asset services such as lending, trading, staking, and tokenization on top of custody. Let me read that again. The GK8 platform serves as a building block infrastructure that opens up an array of digital asset services such as lending, trading, staking, and tokenization on top of custody. And this is all the things that Ripple is looking to expand on, whether it be lending, enter into, whether it be staking and tokenization, and of course, custody and trading. So This is what it seems like to me. This is going to be their number one front of mind purchase. I still think Celsius Lending LLC is a viable thing to look into. If not Ripple, perhaps some of their platform like Salt Lending. I don't know if Salt Lending has the money to make it happen though. However, by offering self-custody, your banks retain full control of its digital assets, mitigating all hacking risk and eliminating reliance on third-party custody providers. So I could see Ripple without question be interested in this, in acquiring this company and having this in their tool belt for financial institution. Offering the highest available insurance coverage on digital assets, $500 million. Provided exclusively to GK8 customers by AON UK. Now, if you're talking about a bank and $500 million, anyway, $500 million of insurance is what they're saying. They're offering. GK8 customers already manage over 10 billion in digital assets using our custody solutions. Some of our customers are partners. You see Chainalysis, you see MasterCard, INX, Securrency, eToro, Stripe. So I would read this, but I would play this, but see how Prosegur, a 360 billion euro custody bank, launched our solution to offer secure crypto custody. Anyway, see what the experts say here. What's this? The Zcash guy says. GK8 has developed state-of-the-art cryptographic techniques to minimize the Wallace attacks, surface, and block attackers' influence on security critical components. All right, there it is. There, eToro. Let me see the former CISO at eToro. Our risk-based approach requires addressing threats on all levels, standard and APT. GK8 provides us with a solution for the entire spectrum of threats, which also includes state-sponsored attacks, like the recent attack we've seen on the financial industry world. So there it is right there. 10 billion managed by customers, 500 million in insurance, 7 pending patents. SOC2 Type 2, certified by the EY. Yep, this is definitely, I think now Ripple's number one. I hope that they look to acquire the Celsius Lending LLC. That's probably more so me than probably their intentions, but it looks like the solutions is definitely number one. What else could they do in terms of for retail? Would it be if they require Celsius Lending LLC? That would be a retail thing for sure. For retail facing product without question. And I just think that the model is already there, right? The 1% loan. Well, I'll do it this way: the 25% loan with 25% LTV, the 50%. I think they got like a 33% LTV and a 50% LTV. The model is in place. The infrastructure really is in place with a lot of employees and different stuff like that already there in place. Obviously, there's a certain member of management and of the board where that would have to go, but a lot of stuff already in place there. And again, net positive 350 million. Net positive is Celsius Lending LLC, and that loan, Celsius Lending LLC, that part of the overall Celsius network. I mean, the numbers are the numbers, and that's what it is. So when you combine the collateral, you combine the 23,000 people who have loans, the collateral that's put up, the interest that's just paid, this interest only loan, because you only pay the interest until you're ready to pay off the principal. In any case, it's a model that's in place, and I think Ripple should certainly look into it. I think they will at least look into it. Again, let us not forget, Ripple's lending XRP right now. So how they're doing it with FIs and SMEs and small, medium enterprises, I don't know, but they are doing it. This is would be something that I think that they should definitely look into, especially that would include such a high number of clients. I think everyone at Celsius Network, all depositors at Celsius Network would continue to look at this, the loan part of it as well, for sure, with the company that is going to, get regulatory get the regulatory approval that it's looking for. It's going to wipe the floor with the SEC for sure. Even in settlement, Ripple is going to get what they want in terms of clarity, right? We all know that. And also, by the way, so I was on the Twitter Spaces, and here is Simon Dixon here meeting with the president of El Salvador, and they got some absolutely grand plans of what they're looking to do. And essentially, they are going to, they've already started it. Bank to the Future is going to be upping and taking certain parts of the Bank to the Future company, which is a legal registered securities business, and take it to El Salvador. Okay. So he said in his interview here, they're already hiring people. They already got an HR department and another department there, an HR office. They're setting up an office there. They're going to be hiring people, obviously. And Simon said something that I think is very significant. He said that a lot of the people that left El Salvador are coming back, and he's talking about the smart minds are coming back, and they're looking to work with companies that are Bitcoin focused. But he talked about the restructuring plan, and again, he's under NDA, so he had to kind of turn and phrase things differently. But he said in the video that they're looking to put together a restructuring plan for the distressed Bitcoin lending market. And then he gave a specific, because the guy interviewing was asking, well, what Bitcoin distressed lending, what distressed Bitcoin lending market are you talking about? And he told him, and he says, it was essentially the Celsius story. So obviously he's under NDA. He can't say Celsius Network, but it was very obvious that he's talking about Celsius without questions. Let me go to minute 42 here. But by the way, he's talking about a very grand plan for El Salvador, and the very high risk plan that they're putting together for El Salvador in the whole Bitcoin legal tender thing, to get the foot of the IMF off their neck and choose their own money. And so it's a grand plan, but the president over there, President Bukele, I guess Bukele, is very forward thinking and excited about it. There's a picture of him meeting there. And Simon's going to be there a little bit longer, but he's been meeting with government officials on the hour to make this kind of thing work. Launching Bank to the Future from debt to equity. But let's go here a minute 42 and let you listen to a couple of things here.
Come out of that, and we put together a syndicate if we needed to implement a free market bailout solution, similar to what happened with Lehman Brothers. Essentially, they ended up getting acquired by Barclays Bank and Nomura Bank because they didn't get a government bailout. And so a free market solution was implemented in, and they went into Chapter 11, much like the distressed companies that are in Chapter 11 right now. So we were working on a reorg, and in order to be backed by the funding, we put together a syndicate of $6 billion. And then the combined amounts of assets that are under distress come out around about those numbers as well. But there's lots of good loans within those projects as well that are backed by pristine collateral like Bitcoin. The problem is many of the loans that are backed by shitcoin collateral is the problem, really. So, yeah.
Would you be able to do that before the raft of, regulations that El Salvador needs to introduce for their Bitcoin bonds? Would you be able to do that before that?
Well, remember, we've been at this problem for a decade now. So we are a regulated securities business. Both we have a US broker dealer. We're regulated by Cayman Islands Monetary Authority, and we're making some announcements around many of the lending licenses and money transmitters and various other things in the months ahead.
So, and that's really the big deal. They're making announcements, right? So, I think the thing that a lot of people are forgetting with Simon Dixon, he's got, 8 to 10 years of, doing this type of thing. And he's further along than a lot of people know. Is the challenge is it's just a very quiet guy, walks on, kind of operates under the radar. So a lot of people don't know about Bank to the Future, BNK to the Future, and what they do as a regulated securities business. And they don't know that he's been part of the Bitfinex the restructuring, or he was part of the whole Mt. Gox thing, and he successfully have done 2 or 3 of these quote unquote reorgs. He's spent the time and work to get the proper licenses, and a lot of people don't know that. And the move to El Salvador I find to be very, very fascinating. That they they're going to pick up, essentially not the whole company, but parts of the company are going to pick up shop. They're going to move to El Salvador, acquire, and since El Salvador is, he said in this interview, he says they're years ahead of other countries. They're years ahead. So he's looking, more than likely kind of on the fast track to be able to get the licenses and stuff in El Salvador that they need to continue to operate. The $6 billion syndicate apparently is still on the table. It's still on the table. And so anyway, keep listening.
So yeah, and also the work that we're doing in El Salvador, it's kind of perfect timing in order to have the perfect storm and really El Salvador be at the birth of a really important industry. When I look at my Bitcoin, there were certain moments when Bitcoin was really going to fail and it didn't. One of those was Mt. Gox, and that's still trying to be resolved today because it went through Japanese traditional bankruptcy proceedings, and people had to fight to try and get their Bitcoin rather than it being liquidated on the market. That was that. The second one was prior to the 2017 bull market, Bitfinex disaster, that if we hadn't restructured and that successfully worked out, then it may not have got into a bull market. So
he asks some really good questions, does this interviewer guy,
because they feel safety in their country and they're reuniting with their families. And so we've got a really nice blend of experience that's come from, very developed US.
So what he's talking about is people that have come to the US, the whole American dream thing, blah, 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 got into financial markets, that they're coming back to El Salvador, okay? And he found that to be very, very promising. Let me go to minute 50 here. Let's go here.
It's the road has hit, it started. So they've made it legal tender. Wherever you go, all the things that you covered in previous podcasts, you experienced. I'm on the ground here as well, and a commitment that I made while I'm on the ground is that whenever someone allows me to pay in Bitcoin, I'll sit down with them and go through some Bitcoin risk management strategies. So how to manage it as an individual, and what I walk them through is helping them understand.
Okay, that's not what I want.
It was a British Virgin Island company, so it didn't go through US bankruptcy proceedings. This
hold on 1 second.
Millions of losses to occur, because I think that would be a lot of people were misled into, into the safety of those products. So I'm really motivated to try and see if we can get a restructuring reorg to prevent that problem.
So the recovery plans that we're talking about, they're dependent on court judges?
Yeah, so you have to demonstrate compliance to the US courts, and it has to be a feasible plan. And so thankfully, we've been working on, Bitcoin-based and equity securities and stuff for the last decade. So we think we're in a position to be able to put forward a compliant plan that could get sign-off from the courts in order to prevent that problem. And again, a shift from debt to equity. So we'd look to do it more of a bail-in structure rather than where those victims, they get what assets they had and the rest is made up with an equity position in this company. And that company, a big part of it could be in El Salvador, and El Salvador could be part of the growth of an industry because.
So this equity is going to be in a company, which is essentially Bank to the Future, or whatever they're going to name it, in El Salvador. Now, it's not replacing the Bank to the Future in the States, but it's going to be El Salvador, if you will, version of Bank to the Future. And that's what the equity is going to be in the new reorg company there. So I think it's very, very interesting that he felt compelled to do some things with this $6 billion syndicate in El Salvador. But he, again, they've decided to make it legal tender. He very, very fascinating story he goes into about the IMF and why the IMF is not excited about what El Salvador is looking to do. Very, very fascinating. You have to really know your history about money and dollar-based currencies and the whole 9 yards to really and truly understand the real deal. In other words, and he referenced a book that we talk about all the time on Generational Wealth Wednesdays, which was Confessions of an Economic Hitman, The Creature from Jekyll Island. He referenced those books in this interview for sure. And it really tells you the real story and the real job, if you will, of the IMF. And it is not to the favor of the smaller nations, developing nations like El Salvador. It's just not. It's to make these countries beholden to the dollar. And if you, again, read the Confessions of an Economic Hitman, it's a horrible, horrible, horrible thing that's done to these developing countries, and Bitcoin is a way for them to get out of this. And so grand plans for El Salvador is going to take probably a decade to kind of realize the true promise of what they're looking to do as legal tender. But this restructuring thing is very, very fascinating to me, that make this move. In El Salvador, I'm just very, very curious as to why that is, but I'm glad that it's still in place and they're still looking to do it. And regulatory is regulatory, right? So if El Salvador is more regulatory compliant, advanced, and ahead of these things, if they're ahead than of the U.S., it just makes more sense. So it's gonna be interesting to see. But that is it, deal. That's it, guys. That's what he's looking to do. That is still on the agenda. Interesting. The whole El Salvador twist to it is fascinating to me. For sure. So those out there who are Celsius deposit tours, I personally still believe that there's hope. He mentioned, he said he used the word getting their crypto back and then in doing the rest in equity. So, you know, basically whatever Celsius network just establishes as the whole, you know, in terms of crypto, in-kind crypto, then they'll be able to make that difference up if you choose to do something, you know, with that whole $6 billion deal there. And right now, it looks like Celsius is very short in crypto. I don't know what they're looking to do. You know, Ripple's going to come in and buy, you know, I believe GK8 and probably Celsius Lending LLC. That's what it's looking like. And we'll see what else Ripple is looking to do. And just a side note, Simon Dixon is a shareholder, equity holder in Ripple, the company, and Celsius Network. Okay, so don't sleep on this guy and his ability to make some moves. And I don't know how much communication he had or has had, or if none at all. I don't know. But you know, Ripple is looking to enter this bankruptcy. Okay, Simon Dixon is in this bankruptcy and putting it together the $6 billion deal. So obviously we can't get our hopes up of what Ripple will do, but it definitely looks like that GK8 is big time interest. And Celsius is in position where they're going to need some cash, right? And Ripple has it. So Ripple spent like over 180 million, something like that, over 100 million in fees right now to defend themselves. It's just absolutely mind-boggling. So, but in any case, I could see the shareholders at Ripple being excited about this GK8, and I just get the sneaking suspicion that this Celsius Lending LLC, it seems very, very like a viable move. It really does, to do that. And so, Yeah, is Simon Dixon a Bitcoiner? Without question, he's not interested in any other crypto. But I don't care if he's only interested in Bitcoin. That's on him. If he has an opportunity to put us in a position and an opportunity for whole, I am definitely with it. I don't know the haircut, if you will. I don't know how short, if you will, Celsius is going to be in terms of crypto. 30%, like you're only gonna get 30%. I don't know, 40%. I don't know. I don't know, but I don't know what it's gonna look like. But I do know that the loan thing is one thing, the earn thing is another thing, and the custody is another thing. Three things there. You got the loan, people who have loans, and it's a lending business. It's an entity unto itself. It's separate from Celsius Network. Celsius Lending LLC is a different entity. It's a different entity. So I think what Judge Glenn Martin decides is going to be precedent. It's going to set all kind of precedents, and he is going to have a foundation and a framework, and he's going to have to look at loans and collateral loans and reference it from that. He's not going to be looking, in my humble opinion, he can't go to crypto loans and some framework or foundation because there isn't any. So he's going to look at traditional loans and what's that look like? When someone puts up the collateral for a loan, how is it all of a sudden become someone else's collateral? I don't see him going there. I just do not. And I think that if people come in and look to acquire Celsius Lending LLC with the proper licenses and all of that stuff to operate with this, and obviously this agreement for people who have loans to be able to be in a position to pay off loans and get their collateral in kind. Judge Glenn Martin, I think it's going to be all over it. I think it's going to be all over it. I really, really do. And he looks very much, I don't want to say on the side, but he looks very much a guy who is very much concerned with the people that have been harmed. And Kevin O'Leary said it best in an interview that he just had with Raoul Paul and I believe it was Scott Melker and another dude. I think he put it directly in the heart of what it really is in crypto right now. He called it just mismanagement, right? Like get rid of it. He said, I think he said dirty mismanagement, bad mismanagement. We got to get the bad mismanagement out of crypto is what he said. I'm paraphrasing, but that's what he's saying. And this is what happened here. It's not about the dude. It's not about the personality. It's not about liking or not liking. It's the management style. And I said this on my video earlier. CEOs tend to have this God complex. And I've experienced this before with billion-dollar CEOs in two different spaces that I was in. It was the same space, but two different CEOs, both billion-dollar CEOs. And it's a God complex. And mistakes were made. It's obvious. And that's what Kevin is talking about, the bad management styles. You got to get rid of it. And that's what it looks like it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And I just think if a company comes to get Celsius Lending LLC and is able to make that part of Celsius whole in terms of those people will be able to not be in a position, well, it's already been frozen. Loans are frozen. So you don't have to pay interest. Your loans are not going to go into any kind of what is it called? Liquidations or any of that. It's all been frozen. So that, people in the lending business are going to be looking at that. And I just think there's going to be a bidding war on that Celsius Lending LLC. I really, really do. I really, really do believe that. And just because Celsius Network originally said no to Nexo doesn't mean anything's going to change. Doesn't mean that can happen now in this Chapter 11 reorganization / bankruptcy. So an opportunity for 23,000 people to get access to their collateral. I was telling Miss Crypto Siege here, this is the other day, this is different than the earn and custody accounts because a lot of talk was about this preferential quote unquote treatment that one group may be getting over another. But here's the difference. Just because you got a loan and you now have an ability to pay off the loan doesn't mean that you get your collateral quicker than someone in custody or someone in earn. Doesn't mean that. It means you have the ability now to meet your obligation of a loan that you took out. to meet your obligation, to meet it. It doesn't mean, oh, your loan's forgiven, we're giving you collateral back. That's not it. That would be preferential treatment. Oh, you want a loan? Okay, your loan's forgiven, you don't have to pay back, and here's your collateral. No, it's just an opportunity to meet the obligation, right? To honor the loan agreement that you entered into. That's what that means. And so I don't feel like that's preferential treatment. I really don't. People, Celsius Network, people entered in the Celsius Network in different places. Some people have loans, they don't even have any crypto on Celsius. They provided collateral to get a loan, to get the 1% loan. Some people are in custody, don't have loans. Some people in earn don't have loans. Some people that are earn are not in custody. Some people are in custody and not in earn, right? So they're different. So in any case, I've been rambling long enough. I just want to give you kind of heads up on, I'm fascinated by this move, but it is good to see that Simon Dixon is still looking to, because, still looking to come up with a reorg. And I think it's viable. I think that Judge Glenn and the trustee are going to be looking at properly licensed, experienced companies in whatever the category it is going to be. I really, okay, have you done loans before? Okay, well, have you dealt with securities before, right? Registered securities. Tell me about your license. Tell me about FinCEN. Tell me about the U.S. broker. Tell me about that. Show me that. I think that's what they're going to look at. Without question, I think that is what they're going to look at. I don't know the UCC's overall game plan. I really don't. But they do have a fiduciary responsibility to look at all viable options. And the judge ultimately, I think we get the vote on it as depositors, but the judge ultimately decides whether it's viable or not. I think he decides first, and then we vote on it, right? And so, and I just think that the vast majority of people of Celsius depositors are really excited about Celsius plan. And only the cell token holders are excited about Simon Dixon's plan. For the most part, it's the cell token holders. And I mean, Otis plan for cell token holders. I don't think it's a great one. I don't think it's going to fly. I think the vast majority of people don't even own any cell token, and trying to get equity in a mining business. I don't think that is. I don't know if that's the better move. I really don't. I'd rather, because I know how not unprofitable it can be. I like the idea of getting equity in a business that is the #1 asset and the fastest growing asset class in the last 100 years. And that's what this is going to be. That's what Simon Dixon's thing is going to be. So again, he's a shareholder in Celsius Network. He's a shareholder in Ripple, the company. He's a shareholder in Coinbase, shareholder in Kraken. It's got to tell you something about the dude. All right, guys, listen, I'm going to end this video like I do. This wraps up your XRP Ripple daily news in around 0 to 10 minutes. Do me a favor, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and ring that notification bell if you enjoy the Hangout, so you know when we upload a video or when we do go live. I'm going to end this one, hopefully, like I do all my videos, and remind you guys of this. Old money doesn't want you to win. They don't want us to win. They would rather that we remain a cog in their perpetual wheel of trading our time for dollars. They don't want us to play in the same playground that they play in, where we allow our money to work for us. This is our chance to win, guys. The digital asset space is our chance to win. We are in the midst of the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of man. Are you participating, or are you standing on the sidelines? Here's what I do know, that the battle for you has already been fought, and the victory is yours. Go get it.